Hi, and I'm Altero, and I'm a Latina role model. And I want to tell you, cut your excuses in half and face your fears. Fears are holding you back to becoming who you are meant to be in this world. Everybody has the potential to become whoever they decide to do. Follow your passion, follow your dream, and you'll be happy always.
This show has been brought to you by Taino Light Beer, coming to your favorite retailer in September in Central Florida.
Good evening and welcome to EduTV. I'm your host, Greg Perkins, and we'd like to welcome today Ms. Pam Carson, Senior Manager for Orange County Public Schools Community Resources Department.
Thank you.
And we also have with us Ms. Kayleen Stroud, who's the Public Affairs Coordinator for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes, sir.
We got through that.
You did great.
Okay. Well, we just like to talk today because a lot of times there are a lot of good things that are going on with Orange County, partnerships that they have with organizations in the community, and we just wanted to invite you guys on here today to tell us about some of the things that you do in general, and then we would like to segue into the partnership that y'all have with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay. Okay. All right. So, Orange County, a lot of great things going on. You want to fill us in on some of the things that are going on? And
absolutely.
Some of your community partners?
Absolutely. One of the things that we do, I am over the Community Resources Department for the district. We actually oversee the Addition School Volunteer Program and the Partners in Ed. When it comes down to the additions, those are the individual people who want to go in and volunteer and work in the schools. Okay. When it comes down to business partnerships, we actually invite businesses and organizations to work with the schools. We've been in existence with the Additions for 44 years and with the Partners in Ed program for 34 years. But 2 years ago, I would love to tell you about the faith-based initiative that Dr. Jenkins actually started.
Tell us about
and that's how our relationship with Kayleen came about. People don't realize that when it comes down to the Partners in Education program, that it does not just mean businesses, it actually means organizations, faith-based organizations included. So when she became superintendent, she had a vision to actually do just that, get the word out so that faith-based organizations could know that they too can adopt schools. Before
now tell me about that process, the adopting the school process. So how does that work and what role does Kayleen's organization play? Or Kayleen,
I was going to build up into that.
Okay, I'm sorry, you go right. You're fine. I'm sorry.
Here's the key. At every school site, there's a partner in education coordinator. Okay. And that coordinator's responsibility is to identify what the needs are of the school site. So when a business or an organization decide that they want to work with a school, they actually have the right person to make sure those resources are used correctly. So what happens is that partner and education coordinator could either go out and recruit a partner and or a partner could come and knock on the door and say, hey, we have some resources and want to provide to your school site. Okay. And so that's how it actually starts more than anything else. So even though we started the faith-based initiative back in 2012, when the superintendent was started her role, we had already had 38 partners that were faith-based, that we identified were faith-based partners with school sites. Okay. And so Kayleen and them were already doing some wonderful things already at one of our school sites, and I'll let her tell her story about that. Okay.
About 4 years ago, we were looking for some outreach opportunities. We really wanted to find a place in the community that we could really make an impact. A lot of times you might donate food or you might do other things, but you don't necessarily feel like you've touched people's lives. And we really sought some opportunities and tried to figure out, really where are the needs in the community and really what can we do that makes a real difference. And as we were reaching out, we actually started with United Way. And they had a mentoring program that they were placing mentors in schools, things that schools that Orange County had really targeted as the most needed schools. A lot of their Title I schools and places where kids really needed mentors and some specific support. So we really started our school involvement through that program, and then it's just sort of built and evolved over the years, and then especially the last couple years, once there's been more of a formal adopt a school program, there's been just lots of opportunities that we've been able to do a variety of different things for our specific school that we've adopted, and then we've gone on to work with a couple other schools additionally as well.
Okay, and so what are some of the things that you all do with the kids? I think you said mentoring, or there's some other activities?
Yeah, we've started with mentoring, and you know, in any kind of church population, you have a lot of people that want to help, but maybe can help certain times of the day or in certain ways. So there's certainly people that can come during the day and mentor while kids are in school, and that's wonderful. But there were also large groups of people that said, hey, we want to do this, but I work or I have small children. I can't really do this, you know, during the school day. So we really worked with the school to find other opportunities too. Like our youth groups, they wanted to have some service opportunities, and we really felt like that's an important part of their religious education, is that they experience serving other people and really grow to understand what that does to your, you know, faith and your soul. And so we worked with the school, and we found several opportunities for them to come in. Some days they would do things like the principal was giving away 1,000 books to the students for a Christmas gift, and our students came in, our youth group came in and wrapped all 1,000 of those gifts, so that their support staff at the school didn't have to take a whole week away from their regular duties. So that was really an easy, just, you know, moment for us to come in, find what their need was, and then step in and really fulfill something that freed up their resources for more educational purposes.
And Pam, tell me about, do you all get pushback? Because I know you're reaching out to the community at large, but sometimes, like say you had over, what, 40 or beyond partnerships with faith-based organizations. Do you get any pushback about being able to balance the line between churches overstepping their boundaries in terms of their help?
The pushback shouldn't exist, because if you're coming in and focusing on our students and focusing on the needs, then that's what we're encouraging more than anything else. Faith-based members are positive people who are encouraging people daily. And one of the reasons the superintendent reached out to the faith-based community is because the leaders of faith are the people that they listen to first. And so how do we communicate with parents so that parents can be more involved with their students? And so that really is her push more than anything else. How do I get more communication out to the families as to what they can be doing to support the kids, not only in school but away from school? And so with that continued communication, that helps, number one. And then secondly, again, if we have people that are in the faith-based role becoming mentors and tutors, and as long as they know that that is that gray line, not to cross that gray line and focus on education, then there is no barrier whatsoever. But I will tell you, the superintendent was very crafty with how she created her faith-based program. It also, she went out and she worked with getting all faith houses of faith together and created an advisory council. And based on creating the advisory council, we created this brochure so that people would really know exactly what they can do when they came in to adopt a school or work with the school site. And there are guidelines with any programs that we have. Those guidelines are very clear as to what they can do and cannot do.
Right, and that's going to be clear, the guidelines are going to be clear whether it's a faith-based organization or just a regular organization. Because I grew up in the South, and I had to go to church every Sunday, right? I don't go as much now. But when I look back, just the way that churches are normally organized, and it was almost like I got a double education, because the church played a significant part of my life in terms of we had to make speeches. We had to, again, serve the community. So when you look at it, church or faith-based organizations, they do have a role to play, and I'm glad to see that. And it seems to be a coming together more, because I remember if you start talking about public schools versus charter schools and faith-based, it seemed that the schools and everybody's kind of working together a little bit better now?
We have to.
Sort of accommodate?
We have to. Our goal as a district is to be the top producers of successful children in the nation, and we can't do it by ourselves. That's a part of our vision, and it's a part of our mission. And so that's the other reason for reaching out. And it's not just in reference to businesses and, again, faith-based, but we even are starting a second initiative with the fraternities and sororities. Good. For them to be also to realize that their mission really is to do community service. Our students have to do community service. So what a perfect marriage. That's the same thing with the faith-based. Their mission is to, of course, to be able to give back and teach that giving. So perfect marriage.
And it truly does take a village, because we had the Dr. Jenkins on another one of our affiliate shows, and we were alarmed by the number of homeless children.
That's right.
That are in Orange County public schools. So I know that the school can only do so much, so it's great that you can have partnerships with faith-based organizations.
I think that's really an important key is the schools have really been tasked to do so much more than educate our children with some sort of a curriculum. I mean, there are social workers, those are teachers who are making sure the kids have something to eat and their emotional problems are addressed. It really takes a community, like you said, to support the schools to do this greater mission. And the faith-based community and corporate partners, really all of those have to add to incorporate, you know, this whole mission, because it's just so much more than just teaching them how to read or do math anymore. So it's really important.
This is very true. Now, I see that there's a partnership, I'm not going to say of sorts, but I just wanted to know the role that you all have with the new school that's going on in the Paramore area, and you're partnering with the YMCA, Mr. Rosen. We had him in here a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
So are all those units going to be housed under one thing or next to each other so that kids would be able to take advantage of a lot of those things like the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club?
That's the goal with the Paramore, the Paramore School, more so than anything else, is to be able to provide a school in the neighborhood, because they had said that they didn't have it, and also to provide the resources that they didn't normally have in that area. And for people like Mr. Rosen to step up to the plate and help make that happen even quicker, because by him doing that, that expedited the process of having that school to be developed. That's awesome. And the good part about someone like Mr. Rosen, he is that role model that other businesses can see that they can do to do the same thing. Because remember, he's doing that in Paramore, but he did it in Tangelo Park area first.
That is correct.
And then the other part that businesses have to realize is it doesn't have to be one person.
Right.
If you are partnering with several different groups, they can make that same difference in the different areas of town. So you don't have to be a Mr. Rosen to be able to do that. You can just link together with different groups.
Again, it truly does take a village. What are some of the things, like, I'm an education advocate, so I kind of read more of this stuff probably than the average person, and I see all types of helpful programs out here for kids, and sometimes I'm wondering, why doesn't the parent know that there are magnet schools? I even visited a school, it's an Orange County charter school, and I think it's for kids who, if they want to work half a day and then go to school the other half a day, even have a school for that. And I met the principal, and this guy, he has partnerships with businesses that will give the kids jobs. And so when I see people complain, I'm like, I see people helping all the time. Or what do you? Where's the disconnect coming? Or
I can't answer the disconnect, but I can answer what the district is doing to educate parents more.
Okay.
And what we're doing more is the superintendent, again, visionary, created the Parent Academy. That started, I believe, last year. And that Parent Academy takes place, I believe, every other month. It's a place where parents can come and learn where their kids can actually know how to, about the testing. They can learn about career options for their kids. They can learn about the things that you just said in reference to charters. I mean, not charters, but as far as the magnet programs that we have in Orange County. But their goal is to equip parents with everything that's necessary in order for them to make sure that their child is successful. So those parent academies, and that's a part of the faith-based initiative, because when we send out that newsletter to our faith base, we include all of that information in there.
Yes,
so
that
they can make the announcement from their stand how important it is for them to not only to make sure the kids are ready for testing, number one, but to go to those different events that we have so that they can hear from our leaders. So that is existing even more than before.
In regard to community resources, yeah, I want to applaud OCPS for reaching out to the community and also developing partnerships with faith-based organizations. So we have about 30 seconds left, Pam. So is there anything, a website or something where parents can go and find out just about everything they need to know?
Absolutely. We have two. The main website is ocps.net. You can find any information out. And then our volunteer website is volunteer.ocps.net. You'll be able to see the volunteer activities that you can sign up for, as well as the business partner information that you can sign up for, and to be able to see some of the best practices that are out there.
And don't forget to come to the Parent Academy.
And don't forget to come to the Parent Academy. The next one, I believe, is at Wakaiva High School. So please look on our site and you'll find all that information. And thank you to our partners. We can't do it without them.
Well, thank you, Pam and Kayleen. It was a pleasure having you on EduTV. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
I am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and her mother couldn't believe her. She is the child I am for. I am a volunteer child advocate. I am you.
Florida residents call toll-free 866-341-1425.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Again, we're talking to Pam and Kayleen, OCPS, and partners in education in general, and also partnerships with faith-based initiatives. Now, one of the things that I like that churches can do, there's a lot of things that are going on in society, such as bullying. And so I know that you know, churches can always play a role in that. Is that something, another one of the projects that you all work with Orange County to provide those type services? We
haven't done anything very specific to that topic, but certainly in the mentoring that we do, we address those kinds of issues. I've worked with a little boy that had major anger issues. He's a little first grader, and honestly, the police were called many times because this boy would just act out and he just didn't really have those kind of social skills and just had a lot of anger in him. And we really work specifically with the teacher and with other counselors at the school to really practice and help them work through, you know, like little role play scenarios, like if this happens, what could you say? And really just kind of take him in our hands and help him kind of see that there was a better way instead of, you know, going and hitting his classmate or just going crazy. So
yeah, I'm always surprised. A lot of our parents, they need a lot of help beyond, and you're right, it has become the school's job to provide a lot of those things just beyond the academics, because now the academics have become so increasingly difficult. Sometimes I wonder, I say, man, how are a lot of these kids going to be able to keep up with the Common Core and all that? So I really like a lot of the outreach initiatives that y'all have. You guys are doing such an effective outreach, and with your academics, I understand that you won the Broad Award.
Did. We won the Broad Award this year, along with Charlotte Mecklenburg. And the great part about winning the Broad Prize, we had to, of course, document the wonderful things that are happening in our school district, but in a form to where it allowed for scholarship opportunities to come for our students. So the end result of the Broad Prize, it really is to be able to provide scholarship opportunities for our high school seniors that are actually now should be applying for that scholarship. I think we're receiving, I think it's $500,000 that's out there for the taking. So parents, hear me clearly. You may check with your high school guidance counselors, look for that application, have your students to apply, your children to apply, because the funds are there for them. We worked hard for that so that they can actually be able to receive it. Not the application process is what I say hard for it, but they're the ones who actually earn the opportunity. So please make sure you take advantage of it.
With all the confusion about Common Core, what is it, or the FSA standards?
The state standard, Florida
That's
State
right,
Standard.
Florida State Standards,
Absolutely.
as it's called. What role has your department played in helping to clear up some of the noise that's out there?
Can I say that I think our role is to help people to realize, regardless of what name they put on the test, that we need to be there to be there to support our kids to pass that test. If it's mentoring or if it's getting them excited about tests, my philosophy is if you could literally change the attitude of a child to be excited about taking themselves to the next level rather than being afraid that a test is coming their way, then that's the major difference that could take place. I'm excited that now I know that whatever I do in this piece of paper is going to showcase to me that I am ready for the next level. I'm excited about that. So how do we change that mindset of being afraid to being excited? And that's the kind of people that we would like to come into the school system and help them get excited about their test, because test does what? Prepare you for doing whatever comes next. If it's in the classroom or if it's on a job or wherever it is, it's preparing you for whatever comes next.
That's a marketing effort in of itself, because when people hear test, it's almost like we need to come up with another word.
Absolutely.
Because if you think of athletes, world-class Olympic athletes, professional athletes, if our kids saw the level of preparation that those guys go through and you apply that to testing, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
The whole notion of deliberate practice. So I think a lot of times parents get misinformation. So it's very important for you guys to have those type outreach programs so people aren't cleared up by that, because you guys are doing a bunch of good things. I was reading an article a couple of weeks ago about the foundation that you guys have raised additional monies to provide, I think it's what, whole day pre-K care. So I can't remember all the details.
The philanthropic plan.
Yes,
we have a
tell us about
philanthropic
that.
strategic plan that the district actually started with. We actually have another committee, but the ultimate thing is that we know that we can't do it by ourselves, and so we have our foundation, which is the organization that is that was created to be able to bring in additional dollars. But we also have the philanthropic strategic plan, which also focuses on 8 initiatives, right now more so concentrated on 7. But those initiatives are initiatives that a committee has actually came up with that allows for us to raise dollars. More dollars that already exist out there that people probably are out there waiting for us to reach and grab, and we're learning that more and more as a school district, that there are more dollars out there for us to reach at. And the only way that we can do it is if we bring in an individual. Debbie Pedraza is the person that has been doing that to be able to make that happen. Perfect example, nurses in schools. We need that. Kids get sick, what happens to them? How do we take care of that? And so partnering with our hospitals, make that happen. That's what she focuses on. When it comes down to the pre-K program, again, we have that person in that makes that initiative stay focused, as well as when we bring those resources in to target that. So that's her job responsibility in making that.
Okay, and you guys, do you have a social media presence too?
We do have a Facebook presence, and it's OCPS, so you can look at for Facebook, as well as we do have a Twitter account, and like I said, the parent app. So we are trying our best to stay as connected with the parents and the community as possible. We also have, under our public relations realm, we have What's News, and different newsletter outlets that go out via not only our area, but through the newscast as well.
Oh, okay. Now, I understand that you all have an event coming up at SeaWorld with your faith-based partners as well as with your partners in education.
Absolutely. Every year we're lucky that SeaWorld allows for us to recognize our outstanding volunteers and business partners. And what happens is these wonderful people on a regular basis go into our school sites and they volunteer their time, and so we like to thank them in some form or fashion And in doing so, we literally go to SeaWorld, have this wonderful program where our students get a chance to perform, but then SeaWorld allows them to stay in the park for the rest of the day. So we're actually going to be taking probably anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people to SeaWorld on May 1st. That's the first part of the morning, but because this is a very special initiative and this is the first time, we're actually going to be recognizing our faith-based partners separately, but still at SeaWorld, but in a different venue. And that will give us an opportunity to recognize 5 faith-based groups. And this is not by circumstances that Kayleen is here. I brought her because she actually, their organization is the Partner of the Year for our faith-based. That's why she's here.
You didn't tell me that earlier.
I figured I would have an opportunity to slide that right in.
Congratulations.
Because here's what happens. People do not really want the recognition a lot of times when they're volunteering, but it's important to us to be able to provide that opportunity and to recognize them. And so this gives us an opportunity, one, to say thank you, but it also gives an opportunity for other people to see what they're doing so that it can be mirrored in a sense. And so their wonderful video will be showcased or displayed on May 1st as well for the things that which they're doing. But I've been talking, but I want Kayleen to share some of those other activities that they've been doing as well, because Kayleen is one. They've brought in as many as how many on campus at one time?
We had one day last year where we had actually about 700 people split between a couple campuses doing a big campus beautification project at 2 different schools. So we re-landscaped, we painted the cafeteria, we painted hallways, we've helped organize media centers, and then one of those partners that year, a little bit later, Ocoee Elementary School, built a brand new campus. So they asked our volunteers to come back, help pack up their old campus at the end of the school year, and then right before school started, when the new campus was ready, to come back and help unpack and reorganize into the new school. So it's an ongoing partnership that really grows and evolves every year. You know, when the schools have different needs, we talk on a regular basis and we try to address those needs as best we can.
And was this something organic in terms of the faith-based? I know they play a similar role as partners in education, but something having 700 volunteers, wow, that is huge. So what does that mean for your church? Do you guys have a strategic plan? Do you want to grow beyond where you are now, or how does that work? Before you answer that, I have to say that the faith-based is a partner. Always, and is a partner. The one thing that we really wanted, and when we started the initiative, is to remind people and or organizations that they too can fall up under that umbrella.
So I think that's really the key. There isn't a strategic plan in that we're going to do this year and this next year. It's really a constant communication with those principals. And from year to year, the kinds of services that we performed really has varied, dependent on their needs and their new ideas, or things that we'll come up with, and we'll say, hey, I think we could maybe come up with something like this. And they say, oh, we never thought of that. You know, it's kind of a two-way street. But collaboration. Certainly they're driving their truck. We're just helping push in the back. So that's where we're at. So, Pam, we have about a minute left. What are the next steps in terms of community resources? You guys have any more additional plans for outreach? And I'm going to turn my piece right quick over to Kayleen, because I really want her to hone in on the Week of the Family, because we're moving in that direction and partnering how important that is. So, real quickly, Kayleen, can you tell us about Week of the Family? Has a Week of the Family that's the second week of November every year. And the Parent Academy that we've mentioned earlier actually plays a role in that. And the faith-based groups really are excited to add and really expand this. And so OCPS does a marvelous job, but it takes about 150 people to put on a single Parent Academy. It's a really big all-day endeavor. And we've had these further discussions with them to say, you know, the faith-based community really wants to help support this, because we think this really impacts families in a big way. And so we've talked about doing some mini Parent Academies at some locations that's great. Around. So I think that will be great. Well, Pam, you are doing a great job. You're just outreaching to everybody. Thank you. Very good. And congratulations, Kayleen. Thank you for joining us on EduTV. See you next week.
This show has been brought to you by Taino Light Beer, coming to your favorite retailer in September in Central Florida.